pretty sure the stream is going. Still don't see myself live on TradingView. We are live right now. That's exciting. All right, got a little low energy today. One little morning adventure, but now I'm back. We're looking at the charts. I was looking at Penn because we saw it yesterday and said, hey, we need to long it at like 56, and I missed that entry. I don't know what I was doing, so I'm looking to get in on a Penn long just to buy the dip. Right, it's a good retracement level. Anyways, let's do what we usually do. I'm gonna start off with BTC and Ether and the cryptos and stuff, and then we'll look into indices, right, and cover the S&P. I'm gonna cover the QQQ futures, the IWM, right? So the Russell, the small caps, cover everything, right? So it can be your typical stream. Last stream on Wednesday, we had we saw this retracement, right, back up to the 61.8 on BTC, right? This red line. I said, hey, like this is probably a good time to hedge a short and see how this plays out, right? And then what happened afterwards, it got interesting. It got really interesting because we saw that dip and we saw bulls really step in at the next 61.8, which was that lower wick, right? And it wicked pretty hard. And now we're at the 50, right? The 50% retracement level, which is 60,960. You guys on TradingView, you guys on YouTube, go ahead and smash that like button. Say hi just so I know who else is watching. And we'll fire things up. So we did see that 50% pullback. We're looking at 50% pullback off this last swing, right? So this is our swing low right here at 57. Our swing highs at 64. And in terms of what that swing has done, you've seen a 50% retracement. The reason I think this fib is valid is if I remove the bigger one, right, we're seeing the chart stick to it, right? We did see the heavy buying, really heavy buying over here on this 61.8, right? So ideally, this should hold, right? This should hold if you're going to see continuation, and if not, then the next level is going to be 60,000, right? 60,168. So back to that where that wick was. If that fails, then I believe we're going to see a minor liquidity grab, right? Which should get us down to 55. And I'd probably want to counter trade 55 and 54. Like as in, if we do dump to here, if you do see a savage sell-off, I'm going to want to long that, right? At this point, if we go back to like the daily chart, the big trend picture, right, it's still up in terms of like what's going on with the trend. Is it up? Is it down? It's still up, right? We're past the minor or the larger 61.8. The only 61.8 bear retracement I see is a smaller one, right? And we're seeing quite a bit of selling. Like all these previous candles in the recent past, right, have been selling, not aggressive selling. And yeah, I just kind of want to see what this chart does. There's a couple of possibilities. I'm going to go ahead and highlight them again, right? So if you don't see support at the current level, right, the next two levels I'm going to want to long are going to be 60,001. I'm just going to like drop the price tickers because there's too many numbers, right? So 60,190, 55,823, and 54,874, right? So these are going to be the three levels I'm going to want to interact with. Nothing else I want to touch. And in terms of like, hey, like where should one hedge a short? Well, you kind of missed that entry, right? You don't really want to short support because that's how you get wrecked. You want to short these 61.8s, right? So this was the hedge, and now it's time to counter it and then let the chart do what it wants to do. What's up, Joe? Vice Brez on TradingView. Smash that like button. That's right. You guys, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for showing the love. All right, that covers BTC, right, quite well. Let's look at daily MAs and see like further support. I don't think we need to do that. I don't think we need to do that just now. There's not like a savage sell-off, but just in case there was a savage sell-off, like where would daily moving averages come in? Where would I expect support? Just gonna pop that right now. We're closing below that 30, right? The 30 weighted moving average. That's my yellow line, and I don't like that. Hopefully we stay above, right? But if in case it does close below and we do like see Saber soft, then there's that 54 level, which is interesting. At that point, it would be like retracing this larger swing. I don't know if that's what we're going to see. There's support before we get there, right? But I mean, that's just in case. Wanted to highlight that possibility. All right. Let's remove indicators. I'm gonna hop on an ETH, right? ETH USD. I talked about an upside target. Trend is still intact. When we were here on Wednesday's stream, right? I said, hey, like it's okay to see resistance at 46.45. We likely want to see support at 44.41, right? So these fibs are completely still intact. In terms of trend continuation, we want to see this like rising wedge break upwards, right? We do want to see that. For now, let's call 44.41 support unless like this wedge breaks. And I do believe the next upwards target is going to be 49.67. You guys can see that. So 49.67 is our next target, 49.39. So just this zone is going to be critical. Getting up in there. LTC still looking on that like, well, now we're below the 61.8, right? I've talked about we want to see a strong push above 200. We're not really seeing that just yet, and a little disappointing, right? And then last week I was talking about how 177 needs to hold a support to go back up and revisit 200. But we do know that there is further support, like stronger fib support from this longer swing, right, that we've seen previously. I'm going to delete this shorter one, right? So like 194 should hold as support on this revisit. We should see a support resistance flip at 194 to continue upwards, right? Can you show us ADA chart? You bet. Thanks for coming in with a suggestion. I'll cover ADA since you came in with a ticker show, and then after ADA we'll go into indices, stocks, and commodities and stuff, and see what futures are doing, what the indices are doing. ADA, man, looks like consolidation. I want to pull up like a better chart, like a USDT Binance. There we go. That's a good one. Just because I wanna get these extensions, right, to show us where support is before I talk about these retracements. So ideally, you want to see what this swing has done and where it's printing support and resistances, and are these fibs valid? Looks pretty clear cut, right? If we look at this, we do have a lot of compliance with price, right? Where like 14 cents was resistance, and then we saw 72 cents as support, or 7 cents, right? And then 13, they saw this range. Resistance here, a strong breakout, support at $1, right? And now we are where we are. So I like this set of fibs, and all right. What else do we see? We see 2.13 acting as resistance, right? Clearly it's selling off from there. I think looking at this, the next level down is going to be 1.62, right? $1.62. Are we going to get there? That's the next drop, if it happens. Is there further support? Like what else would confirm that level? Just support above. Well, taking this last swing into consideration, right? We might not see 1.62. I think, actually, this is tricky, but I do believe, it's not I think, I believe a revisit to 1.79 should trigger another some more buying volume, like what we saw here on this big wick. And in case we do drop to 1.62, at that point, I mean, I do think ADA is a shitcoin, and I don't have a position, but I'm willing to interact with it right here, right? Totally willing to interact with it right here. I think it'd be a good buy because, one, it's retracing extensions. Two, it's doing a liquidity grab below the 61.8. We could see continuation from where it is now, right? Like efficient markets like to move to 61.8 and bounce. But it's going to be determined by, like, you know, the greater movements in the crypto market right now. Like what all is happening, like BTC, are we going to see a sell-off, Ether, and so forth. All right, ZIL and Shiba. LRC, let's do that. Before I do that, I want to hop into indices, right? I want to hop into indices because I had a short open yesterday and I closed it today just because, like, fucked me up on that gap. Excuse my French. It was rough, man. It's a rough environment to try to short right now on anything. And I mean, it does look like an exhaustion gap right now, today's price action. So I might reopen some puts just because, A, I've taken a lot of profits on this run, right? Like we talked about, you know, we sold Ford, we sold Nikolai, we sold a bunch of stuff this week that was in profits. I made some good run-ups, right? So I'm sitting on a bunch of cash, and part of me wants to short with it. And yesterday, you know, we shorted 467. I think it was off the ES extension. And yeah, so yesterday's high was like right above the 1.4, and then the chart sold off, and I'm like, that was a great entry for a short. And then overnight, you know, bulls, future trading bulls, they blew my shorts out of the water, right? And I had to close out. So, indices are looking tricky. The S&P is looking like maybe an exhaustion gap's forming, and usually that's it's a little toppy, right? What I mean by exhaustion gap, if you look at the daily, it gapped up, but now it's looking like a doji. So I might put 471 as we speak. And like next week, 471, and we see a revisit back down. In terms of like larger fibs, I do want to see a revisit to 463, maybe a retest of 442. Let me see if I can get a 471 put right now on Robinhood. SPY. And you guys killing me with the suggestions. That's awesome. All right, I'm trying to shop out these puts real quick. 471, 387. That's not bad. And they're getting bought up, right? So maybe we'll do SPXL puts. So like 140s. All right, I'm gonna put 140 SPXL like 2 weeks. So. All right, I'm gonna cover some of y'all's tickers and we'll hop in. So let's go over Shiba because we did have some shorts and I've got a bit of like a synopsis of what's been happening on this one, right? And let's move into a 60-minute chart. And on this last drop, right? So before the last drop, right, I signaled some shorts. I even talked about, hey, like we're shorting Shiba. I talked about it on the stream. I talked about it in Discord. I signaled it, right? We got in here, took some profits here, got back in here, right? Took profits on this next drop. And my target on SHIB was the 61.8, and it dipped lower. So I do think it's doing a larger 61.8 retracement. And based off that, you know, our target was 54, and then we saw that bounce, and then we opened one last short in Discord on here on this bounce. And we kept this long open, we took half profit, and then it dropped again, and then we got out of the shorts. So what could be happening is it likely, you know, attempted to bottom at like 4846 right here at the red line. You guys notice a lot of natural markets and a lot of pivots in the market, they happen at my red line, and that's just the 61.8 fib retracement, right? That's what's called the golden ratio, and that's exactly why it's called the golden ratio, is because it is where markets are most efficient. On this next one, where's the next 61.8? I think we're looking at it right now. Like if I wanted to aggressively reshort, I'd probably want to short right now, like 57.21. And that's taking the trend break and retest, right? So there was a trend line right here, that green line, and we had a break and then a retest, and this was the new impulse. So if we don't get a close above 57.21, I'd probably want to short it again, right? I don't know if I'm going to do that because I'm in some like 100x leverage positions and I can only get 20x on this one. So like, where is my money mostly, like, where's my money more efficient right now in the market? All right, let's look at ZIL. This one's ranging, just in a range. It looks like it wants to break out. It looks like a possible Adam and Eve formation, but I'm gonna stick to my guns. We're gonna pop up the fibs. I'd like to see it move to 17, right? I really would like to see it move to 17. I don't know what's going on with this chart. I haven't like kept up with the fundamentals. And what's more interesting is that we're seeing resistance at 11, right? So until we break above 11.6 and see that hold, I can't say we're going up. But when we do that, I think 17 is going to be the next target on Zilliqa. I'm going to cover FTT and CHZ, and I'll come back to LRC. FTT, that FTX token. Man, this thing pumped so hard. Let me see the Binance chart. I think they've been on there for a longer time. I can't fib that. Jeez. Trying to find a good range down here that I can extend, but I don't like any of these because they're just like really wicky, right? Wicky as in like a lot of wicks. I guess it lines up. You know, maybe I don't like it, but it lines up. Here, I'll move it, show you guys what I'm doing. So seeing these wicks, and I don't like fibbing like 2 days worth of price action on wicks on a really volatile range, right? Like I don't. I like a more sustained move, but I mean it's pretty if it's sticking to these fibs. It likes this setup. All right, so definitely want to see 54.27 hold as support, like we do, or else it's gonna break back down. I don't see anything imminent of an upwards break, not yet. Let's check out what this range is doing. And this range is, it's above the 61.8 bear, right? I mean, if it came up, if it sold off like Shiba did, and then did a 61.8 retracement and then failed here and then broke back down, I'd be bearish. But the trend looks intact, right? So if you get a revisit to 49, that's a buy. I'm just going to add an alert for that. All right, let's look at CHC, and then we'll look at LRC. You guys smash that like button if I'm covering your tokens. Oh, I like this. It looks like a pennant. It looks like it's flagging. It looks like it wants to run. Is this on FTX? I like this. I like this chart. I do. And it's like right at the 50% fib. And this is like, this kind of gives a decent entry on a really tight stop. Like get in a 4-4, get in a market with like a stop of 41, right? That would be a pretty good attempt to swing it. And then like my target one would be like this last high at 64, and then target 2 would be like maybe new highs. This chart looks ready, or decently ready. You know, but it did reject at the 61.8, right? So you do want to see a revisit there for reconsideration. All right, let's look at LRC. That one was mentioned in stream, and it went hard. took off. Still pumping. So it's below that 1.618, right? And it's still flagging. I'd want to see the close above for continuation, and at that point I would hodl till 214. There shouldn't be any more resistances. Once it closes above 1.39, I think 214 is very much a likely next target. All right, so covered y'all's tickers. You guys show me some more tickers so we keep the stream going. And if you don't, I'm gonna go ahead and kind of hop back in the stocks. I covered Ford, right? I do have a continuation play, but I did pull out of my $15 calls today. I've held them for like 9 months or 7 months, and they're up a couple 100%, and it's just time to let it go, right? Now I do have continuation calls for a little over a year from now, right? January 2023, I have $22 calls. I think the next target on this one's 23, unless it just like goes parabolic, goes on a rager. It hasn't done that in a very, very long time, right? So we could see like move to 47, and it just, my current calls expire in like 2 months. I just wanted to free up some of that capital, some of that cash. Also talked about energy prices, right? Like the energy fuels. And we're still seeing that push, right? I talked about this formation. I talked about 749 holding as support and potentially seeing a move to 1165. We got into these $7 calls, 750. We got into 750 calls a couple weeks ago, and now we're pretty deep in the money. And I think my next target on this one's 1165. So I will not be selling until we get up there. And like 50% in the money is almost for me, I might want to exercise those calls because that's a 50% discount on what's going into to be like the next crisis that we're actually in, which is an energy crisis, right? Like post-COVID energy crisis. And if it does get a blow off, I think we could see like $50 or something. All right, going back in cryptos, XYO, USD. The reason I highlight plays like Ford, like the S&P, like energy prices is you guys, it's really important to be diversified, right? Like I used to be a crypto maximalist, and then I did that for a while, and then I had to live through 2018, 2019 bear market, and it really taught me to diversify, right? And you know, other assets will actually move too, and if you're trading options, it's like 100-to-1 exposure, just like trading futures. But yeah. So what's going on with this chart? I rejected off the 1.2, right? Rejected off this fib at 7 almost 8 cents, and now it's pulling back. And it's found support at 57. I don't know how strong this breakout is. I don't know much about it. Let me pull up like an older chart, see what's going on, and like maybe on KuCoin it's been there longer. It looks like a runner, man. Yeah. I'd say I wouldn't chase it. But you definitely want to see like support hold at 58, right? Like this should definitely be a stop on this trade if somebody's in before it. If they're getting in here, you know, thinking we're gonna see continuation, it's like an 8% stop. That's not bad. That's not bad. It looks good. I think it looks good. What else you guys want me to cover? If not, I'm gonna look behind me at some of my charts, and then let me do that. I did signal a link long today, right? I think if link pushes up here, we're gonna see a big push, right? Maybe like the $40, right? If we get that run. And the reason I'm saying that is because we took out the 61.8, It's currently above the 786, right? So we could see a move to $40 on Link, and I like it. And, you know, I signaled 100x long perpetual swap position on this today, a couple hours ago, and so the shorter term, I didn't look at like the larger retracement picture, and we can look at it right now, and let's do that. All right, before we get to 40, I'm just going to adjust that target 1 to 38.2, right? I do think that we need to get up to 38.2 on this, and that would be like the target 1 on that perpetual 100x position. Is we want to at least take profit over here and reassess. Let's look at Luna, Vet. Man, you guys loving all the requests. You guys on YouTube, thank you. All right, we'll cover Ripple, cover Vet, cover Luna. I have not covered Luna today. Let's do Luna USD. We had 100x long on Luna too, and it's running, man. It did knock out target 1, right? Target 1 was 52. We want to see it close above. It's like teeter-tottering. So we're seeing some profit taking happen here. And Luna tends to do that, right? So, I mean, this is important right now in this market to actually like book some profits at our targets, because we're not seeing these upwards pushes, not from like the big names, right? And we want to see that at some point. And yeah, like it did knock out our fib target. If you get it close above 54, I'd be very optimistic for a big run up, right? But this range, like this, between these two sets of fibs, it hasn't been a smooth ride. I think we need to see a push above 54 to experience like a nice bull breakout. This range has been shit. Like one candle up, one candle down, one candle up, one candle down, but it's working its way up there, right? But if we do get the close above, and we can see the move above this wedge, and then maybe a push. XRP looked good, and then it just hesitated. XRP is tricky. Like XRP is a token you want to buy when it's dipping, and not when it looks like it's going to break out, right? Like that's just been the nature of XRP since I've been in the crypto market, right? For years, you don't want to just try to long a breakout on Ripple. You want a longer dip. And you can kind of see why, right? Like all these fake breakouts, it's not it's a beautiful fake out token. And like during the Coinbase delisting, right, like that was a dip to buy. You want to buy the FUD dips. You want to buy when like people are like, oh, Ripple's going to go to 0. That's when you buy Ripple. But right now, you know what's happening. We did see a bearish retracement up to 61.8. We did see a 50 revisit, right, based off that last move. Smaller term, we're seeing a breakout retest, right? What I mean by that is you guys can probably see it right now. If I like do a freaking line right here, beautiful bull stepped in. If I was to fib this breakout to 61.8, it's holding. I think we might see continuation out of XRP here, right? This is a dip that would be good for like a small position if somebody wanted to trade it to the upside, because we are seeing some tokens make up moves, right? So market's kind of like 50-50. Some things are going up, some things are going down, some things are going sideways, right? But ideally, we want to see that a revisit up to 1.14, right? We want to see this move. And getting in on this retest is better than getting in on that fake out, right? Let's do VET USD. And then if I don't get any more suggestions, we'll kind of wrap it up. I got a pizza that I'm warming up in the oven. I smell it, and it smells so good. And yeah, so I'm drooling in my mouth. I don't like this chart. I like this a lot better. That looks like it's making moves, man. So I'm gonna do what I always do, right? I want to take this low range. I want to extend it. Bam. Take this next range. I want to extend it. Everything makes a lot more sense now, right? Totally makes a lot more sense now. Even though it looks like it's going to fly, right? We have resistance at 16. We have resistance at 17. And more importantly, where is this 61.8 right now? All right, I kind of have a synopsis in my mind of what could happen, right? Like, we're coming up on the 50% bear retracement, right? We've got two other extensions that could potentially act as resistance, right? So I'm not saying this is the top, but these next like 16.5 to 17.1 are going to be critical for VET. Now we could see a push up to like 19, right? And if we get a retest to these and these hold, right, at this point, I just say it's safe to assume that we're going to see continuation. But for now, like I'd keep an eye on these levels coming up is the 15.6, 16, and 17. And if I just want to keep things simple, right, I can remove all drawings. And the reason I put up all these previous extensions because it really gave us like a good idea of why there was pivots here that looked like they were in no man's land, right? So 16.6, 19.3. If we get a rejection off 19.3 and support at 16.6, I'd want to long it. Thanks, Joe. Cheers to you. Let's look at ANC USDT. Oh man, this looks promising. It looks pretty. I don't know how promising it looks. Definitely a pretty chart, right? Lots of symmetry going on. We're seeing this range attempted breakout above 3.4. We know that they didn't even get up to 61.8 earlier. You see what's happening? You see that? So based off this swing, right, and it's finding support at that previous resistance. So this looks like a good place to get into this chart, right? We're seeing a support resistance flip, and that's good. And this is on a tight stop, like 3.27. Let me just drop a ray on here, right? Like, bam, like that would be the stop on something like this, trying to trade a continuation, an upwards continuation, right? And then the longer term targets on this, the larger swing targets, I'm not going to say term, the larger swing targets on this would be like T1 would be 4.5, and let's just say that. I feel like if I give higher targets than you guys, it's like, oh no, you promised us it's going to get up to that price. No, I don't want to do that. Did I cover ASM USD? Ooh, pennant. Nice chart. Yeah, a lot of things look promising, right? Like crypto's looking nice right now. We're seeing like indices run up. Could be trappy. You want 16 to hold, right? And between 16 and 20, right? Like that's the range. But if 16 holds, I'd say we're gonna see a revisit at 20. This does look like a symmetrical pennant with after a bullish impulse, so it's basically bullish, right? The trend is up, but I mean it could be a fake out, right? So yeah, like, and if you do these trend lines, you know, like 19, 20 be a next target. Alright, fam bam, you guys smash that like button for me. Thank you everybody for tuning into my stream. Not a good participation, not a good energy today. Oh, we got SOL. Solana. Covered this one a couple of streams ago, I think on Monday. ripping, right? I'd already like finished all the previous retracements on that previous range, so all I can do is run these. And yeah, you know, it's just in that like more room to run zone, right? Where like it kind of like what we saw out of Luna, right? Where it was like going up, coming down, teeter-tottering, like one up candle, one down candle per day. And found resistance at 243, so you want to see a flip at 243. I do think like the longer term target is going to be at 279. Yeah, I don't like chasing things, right? So I don't have a sold position. I would want to wait to like the next market crash to get in on something like this, where everything dumps, right? Kind of like Tesla during COVID crash, right? So like, you know, these are the assets you want to buy during a meltdown. Not like buy them at an all-time high, right? Like, I don't do that. If I'm seeing anything on a smaller time frame, yeah, it's just a little, you know, these are the supports are going to be right there on my chart. So if you want to like look at them, 216, right, 194, and then, you know, resistance is overhead. Pleasure. Thank you guys for tuning in on this stream. Make sure to hop into Discord. Monday I'm doing that money Monday, where stock market channels are open for everybody, so you can trade stocks, indices, options with us, and, you know, even metals, whatever you decide to get into, long or short. Other than that, yeah, hop on in. If you want to guest pass in a Discord, shoot me a DM. I'm like the only admin in our Discord at the moment, so just shoot me a DM and I'll hook you up with the guest pass so you can see everything behind the scenes. And everybody have a great week.